But the question that I am asked the most often is if I'm American, which is fine. I've met lots of lovely people from America, but that's not my home. That's not where I'm from. And it's a bit mind-boggling that in the year 2015, people still think that, automatically assume that someone who sounds like me could only have come from the United States. Canada is the second largest country in the world. We're called the True North, affectionately, and yet we kind of fall off of people's radar. So I feel a bit conflicted about this, and I've written a kind of a confession to, if I went knocking one day on the door of our big neighbor to the south and tried to confess these conflicted feelings. And one thing that you need to know about this poem is that in Canada we have called our dollar coin a loonie. And if you buy me a pint afterwards, I'll explain why. Oh, say, can you see the true north, strong and free? We're your neighbor next door, and we're gallantly dealing with your broad stripes and bright stars, leaving oil-thirsty, natural resource-hungry scars all over our sparsely populated landscape. You are omnipotent and full of bravado. You eclipse our nation and leave us in shadow. You are at the center of the continent we share. Evidence of your influence is everywhere. You leave me keeping quiet in foreign lands, reluctant to stand out, because when I open my mouth to speak, heads spin and eyes snap wide, and I face the inevitable question, the perpetuating assumption about my country of origin. So, you from America then? No, I say actually I'm Canadian. And if I had a loonie, or a nickel, or a dime for every time I get the response, oh, Canada, it's pretty much the same as America, isn't it? Hell, I'd be rich. We're not the 51st state. We are still a relatively different nation. The reality of the situation is that you are the handsome, dashing, neon, flashing point of comparison. You created and innovated and owned so much of what the world sees. You set the global tone, and so it seems we're left doing our best impression, like a kid sister playing dress up, doing our best to measure up, trying desperately to come up with an answer to the question, tell me, what's something that's uniquely Canadian? Well, I stammer as I rack my brain, grasping for some specific spot on which to stake our claim, until I realize that's not exactly how we play this game. I mean, you are omnipotent and full of bravado, and you eclipse our nation and leave us in shadow, but maybe that's not so bad, considering the track record we've had of abuse of cultures, tribes, and bands, of our ongoing theft of indigenous lands, of our ever-present responsibility for being resource-hungry and oil-thirsty, of our ever-growing divide between the haves and the have-nots. So we've got a reputation for being generally friendlier. My homeland is not utopia, despite how we get spun in the media. No matter how high I stand on my soapbox to say, we are not the US of A, we are still a relatively different nation. The reality of the situation is that every day our so-called leaders march ever further to the right, and at night cozy up tight under the blanket of your star-spangled banner. And so the manner in which I try to identify what it means to be Canadian, will it always be in comparison to you? The red, white, and true beauty of the flag that bears the maple leaf is a testament to my belief that we are not a nation built on world-dominating slogans and golden arches. Our nation is the culmination of our multicultural parts. We're a melting pot of languages, traditions, histories, and creeds, simmering with insight, compassion, and creativity. And while we may never bear a singular, loud and proud national identity, the truth of our spirit and our geography is that we will always be the true north, strong and free. Thank you.
Yeah.